Hey, what's up, guys? I just got back from my first ever kayak tournament. A kayak fishing tournament. It was the Bassmasters Nation Kayak Series event that they held out west here. It was at Clear Lake. Where do I get start here? A couple years ago, my brother was really talking me into getting into kayak fishing. David Borofsky's really into kayak fishing. He's really into kayak tournaments. I've seen all these kayak tournaments online. I've seen all the kayak fishermen when I'm fishing in my bass boat. I just never done it. And this last weekend was the first time I was ever in a kayak for a full day. I mean, besides that, last year I got in a kayak and paddled about 100 yards and back, and that was it. So I really did not know anything about anything that really goes on. I had like the basics down. I watched YouTube videos and stuff like that, but to really get into it, man, I'll tell you, it was quite the experience. Let's get started. So Dave, he's been talking me into getting into this kayak stuff, and I've been really just like, I'm not sure. I don't have a kayak. I don't own one. And this year I really took the year off. Obviously, most of you guys know, for my son JT's ill, so haven't really been fishing any tournaments at all. And it just kind of worked out this time where Tara was like, get out of the house, go do something fun, and go have fun. And I said, Dave, hey, I feel like signing up for this kayak tournament I heard about. And he's like, yeah, the Bassmaster one. I was like, yeah, I want to sign up for it. It sounds fun. It's got some big money in it. I mean, big money for kayak stuff. And it's not about the money, guys, but competition is what I'm all about. And anytime there's a larger entry fee for a kayak event, it brings in the bigger competition. I just want to see how I do up against the guys. And Dave went and found a kayak for me to use. Thank you, Andy Rao, man, awesome dude. He found me the kayak to use. I went over and met Andy, him and his wife at his house. It was actually his wife's kayak. He's had a back injury, so he's not gonna be able to fish. So he let me borrow his kayak, and that's really awesome. I mean, that's like, to a lot of guys, that's like letting me lend my boat out to somebody. So he kind of just gave me the run around of the kayak at the house. We just looked at everything, showed me how stuff worked, and how to use a rudder and all these other things that go along with it, and helped me put it in the back of the truck, and away I went. I brought it back home, loaded it up, watched a bunch of videos. I got so much stuff I was trying to fit in this kayak, and yeah, you can't fit a lot, guys. I mean, I know there's some kayak guys watching this, but there's probably gonna be a lot of guys that are in boats that have never fished a kayak tournament, and you can't fit a lot, so you got to really break it down. Now I can pack as much stuff as I want in the truck and bring it with me, and then go back and forth in the truck if I'd like to. But so I head up to Clear Lake. I get up there a little early, get on the water, pedaling around. Don't catch anything, but I'm just basically pedaling right before dark. All right, here we are, going for it. First time in the kayak. I'm already paddling. Got some rods. This thing's pretty cool. Floats pretty good. I think I weigh a lot because there's not much distance between the water and the top of the kayak. See a big old weed mat out here. I'm gonna go over here and start chucking a buzzbait around. Maybe get comfortable standing up. But yeah, here we go. All you kayak guys are probably just laughing at me. And then get back to the house staying at, which is Nick Salvucci. Thanks, buddy. Let me stay at your house again. Awesome fish house, really cool spot. And Dave and I just chilled there for the whole time, for the whole tournament. And tournament was on a Saturday. I got up there on a Wednesday night. We started practice on Thursday, and we went down to the Rattlesnake Arm. And I kind of wanted to pick a few spots that had a lot of everything around. I know in a kayak you can't really go that far. I mean, I can't just catch a fish and go run 10 miles one way and run 10 miles back the other way. It's just, you're stuck where you're fishing, and you got to make the most of what you got. So I picked the Rattlesnake area. I know all around Rattlesnake there's rock piles, we got grass, we got shallow stuff, we got docks, we got all kinds of stuff just in that area that I could fish. And we went out there, picked it apart. I caught my first bass on the kayak. It was small, it's like 13 inches. And then like 2 casts later, I caught a 10-pound catfish. And you almost never go to Clear Lake without catching a giant catfish. There's so many catfish in there. And then so other than that, I went the rest of the day, found some cool patterns, got some on a Yamamoto Senko over the rock piles, chatterbait, a couple frogfish, But you know, I was really just practicing measuring them on this board. So for you guys that don't know how the kayak tournament goes, we don't put the fish in a live well. You have to measure them on a certified board. This is a board that I used here, and you basically put the fish there, and it goes in 1/4 inches. So if the tail touches the 1/4 inch, that's how long your fish is, and it's your best 5 length fish. Totally different from what I'm used to, and it's wild. You got to use this app, this Tourney X app, and you basically like hold the fish down and you snap a photo. This is the ID card from Bassmasters. They gave you this when they certify your board. They put a sticker on it. They give you this card, and it has to be in the image, and it has to be correct. And when you send it in, they verify that the fish is the length and everything. And there's also a timestamp on my picture itself from the GPS location, and it shows exactly what time I took the picture and where on the lake I took the picture. So they know that it's real, and you can't cheat. I mean, it would be really hard to cheat on this. So it's all done that way. Really cool. So I did my practicing, measuring the fish. Dave submitted the pictures in practice to a friend that judges kayak tournaments to make sure I was doing it right. He said it was. And so that was day 1. Day 2, actually day 1 we left there, then we went to Brados, which is in the mid-lake area. All right, so it's the middle of the day. Actually, it's probably what, 1:30? 1:30. We're off the water. We're gonna move and check out some new spots. I got to catch a couple bass out of the yak here. I got one that was a 20 1/4 inch fish, so that's a good one. And Dave caught a couple nice ones too. So we found some fish, but I'm gonna find some more, hopefully some more big ones. Pretty excited. Caught a big catfish too. That was fun. But yeah, just had to check like the Shag Rock. All these places are real popular areas, and we were able to launch at any public launch location along this whole lake. And Clear Lake has like, I don't know, 50 launch ramps, but there's some real popular spots that are well known that we launched at. Like we went to Brados, middle of the lake. Really, I got 2 bites there. Didn't get anything practice. Previous trips to Clear Lake this year, there was tons of fish there, but they're gone. And so we ended the day, went back to the house, hung out. We stayed up real late. It was just a fun time, and then got out the next morning again. All right, good morning. We're about to take off. Practice day number 2. Dave's ready.
There you go.
So yeah, we're at the house. Oh, you guys haven't seen this house, huh? Look at that. You know you're at a house that gives you good luck when the owner of the house has the U.S. Open 2019. Woo! Anyhow, thanks Nick for letting us stay here. Anyway, we're gonna go out and have some fun, try to find some fish. We got to be off the water at 3, get our boards checked at 3 to 4.
Yep.
And then yep, we're at it. So here we go. Got up the next morning again, and really just went to the north end. I you know, the state park area has a lot of grass. I'm not too far from Soda Bay. There's a lot going on in that little section there, and if the wind came up, I could duck into Soda Bay. So basically I fished from Soda Bay all the way north of the state park, almost to the county park launch ramp. And it might not make sense to you guys if you don't know Clear Lake, but it's about a 6 or 7 mile area. Yeah, you can cover about 5 or 6 miles in a kayak, no problem, because you just have this pedal driven thing that you go on. And but yeah, I fished all through that section. Right in front of the state park is probably one of the most popular places on Clear Lake. There's a lot of big fish hang out in that whole section there around Kelsey Creek, and there's a lot of offshore grass throughout the whole north end, but around there's some really cool offshore grass there. And I really just found the pattern right there. It was just flipping grass. I mean, this time of year, if there's grass out there, you just flip a grass. You can throw a chatterbait around it or a frog over it, but for me and all the past years that I've been around the state park or in those big bays, I know that this time of year, just flipping grass with a really heavy weight is key. And you know, 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces. I really like the 1 ounce and the 1.25 ounces. And my friends were telling me to, you know, bump it up heavier, but I really like those weights. And I'm just using a 65-pound braid and just flipping the outside grass. I started off the tournament really struggling. I really, man, I was so pumped in the morning. Didn't know what I was doing. I had a camera on, and oh gosh, I totally messed this whole video up. I had my GoPro on the chest, and I really just goofed up. I lost so much footage. So I start off the morning, and I catch one on a frog, and it was a little baby one, but it counts. I got my first one on the board. Didn't even get that on video. And then I proceeded to just lose fish. I lost 6 fish in a row. And then I lost another one later that was a 5-pounder. And all those fish were, man, they were all 18 to 20 inch fish.
That's a good way to lose your fish. Shit. Yeah, that sucked. Oh, gosh, dang it. Damn it. Damn, dude, the 5-pounder. Gosh, I can't keep him in the boat. Dude, I probably should have had over 90 inches already. 5-pounder. Ah. Yeah, I was kind of just about to, I don't know what I was doing. It was a little too big to boat flip. You know, I thought it might bounce off. I don't know.
I don't know what to say. They just came off. I was really awkward in the kayak. I really didn't have that balance right. I'm so used to being in a bass boat, pitching in there and cracking a fish and running back in the boat. And in a kayak, I'm just awkward. I really didn't even know how to land the fish. Just getting it in the boat was a challenge. Because you have this little space. And then I caught a couple fish. I felt a little better, and at that point was right when I caught a couple fish. I turned my camera off and went to restart it. The bee's trying to get in the video. I go to restart it, and that's how I saved my spot where I caught a fish. And unfortunately, I didn't turn the camera back on for another 4 hours because I remember looking at it and going, yeah, it's running, and I'm gonna let it run. Right after that, I just catch a donkey fish, a monster bass, and it measured 24 and a half inches. 24 and a half inches, man. That's like, look at how big that is on there. 24 and a half incher. I mean, if it was the Delta, I would have said that fish was 8.5 pounds this time of year. But Clear Lake, dude, when I grabbed that fish, I was like, this feels like a 10-pounder. Now, I'm sure it was a 9. I don't know. I did my homework. I looked up some stuff on inches and body weight percentages, and starting to get, and I was like, you know what, it doesn't count as a 10-pounder unless you weigh a 10-pounder. So let's just say it was 8.5, 9, could have been a 10.5, I don't know. With 24 and a half inches, the picture that I took doesn't do it any justice. I thought I had my camera on for the whole catch and the whole thing, and I ended up really messing up big time on this video. I had it all set up. I couldn't believe it. I did that. It was a big mistake, but you know, after that I started catching more started getting the hang of it, getting a little more balance in. Unfortunately, the fish didn't get any bigger. Did have one amazing call right at the end of the day. So when you take the picture, like I said before, it saves the time. And right at the very last few seconds, I caught a fish, my last cast. It was a 17.5 incher. I had a 15.5 incher in my, was my smallest fish. I had a 17.5 incher. It was about a 3-pounder, maybe 3.5 or something. And last cast, swinging in the boat. David's right next to me. He's like, take a picture fast, man. You're almost out of time. Snapped the picture. I got it at 3 o'clock and 26 seconds. So at 3:01, that would have been the last 3 minutes and 59 seconds would have been the last chance I had to take that picture. I got the picture, sent it in time, and that bumped me up 2 spots. So I went from 6th place to 4th place just from that one fish. It was pure, just one of those lucky things that happened. But needless to say, it was really exciting. I definitely going to do it again. And the top 12 of this event, I don't think I really realized how big this event was going into it. But the top 12 of this event go on to the Kayak Championship at the first ever Bassmaster Kayak Classic, and it's gonna be in Texas. I think it's like, I don't know what we're fishing for. We're fishing for a lot of money over there. If I decide to go, depending on how JT is, but I really want to go. I don't have a kayak yet. I might have to borrow one, but maybe there's a chance I'll buy a kayak. I don't know. I'm really thinking about getting into this stuff. I did get a decent payday. I mean, I walked out of there with over $1,300. It was a $250 entry. And again, for all the other kayak circuits out west, I didn't just choose this one because I like this one the most. I chose this one because it just worked out timing wise, and I do look forward to trying out some Wild West and some other Hobie events or something like that, some other events that come up next year. But truly had a really good time. Again, want to thank my brother David. Got to thank you, Andy Rao, and got to thank Nick Salvucci again. Man, awesome. Just let me crash his house, let us hang out there, and he showed up on the weekend and cooked food and everything. It was really awesome. I got a little list here. See if there's anything else I'm mixing out. Yeah. So, there's I forgot there was an awards, of course, we go to, but with the coronavirus, they couldn't invite everybody. The meeting was a little different too from what I heard. We couldn't meet anybody, but yeah, for the most part, I had a great time. Got to meet a lot of awesome guys. Those guys are really competitive guys. And I'm gonna leave this one thing at the end of this video I want to touch on. Now, when I was out there, I had a mask on, fully covered my Sims gear to protect me from the sun, fully covered. Had my sunglasses on, fully covered, and and those sunglasses, by the way, I had 2 shades. First, I had the Silver Sunrise Costas in the morning, so I could see that grass just under the surface. That grass was anywhere between 8 to 12 feet. Some of it was touching the surface, but a lot of it was just under the surface, way offshore, in small isolated clumps, and that's what I really keyed in on. And I know I'm jumping back and forth here, but I don't want to forget to show you the bait that I was using. So this is an 8-foot punch rod right here, Dobbins. It's 805, awesome rod. I got that big giant Daiwa high-speed punch reel, Ishimano reel here, Tatula. Not associated with them at all. I just love that reel. It's awesome. And then here is basically the full setup here. There's an ounce and a quarter River C tungsten weight there. I got a 5/0 Hayabusa HD hook. Here's the pack. This is a 6/0 pack, but just so you guys can see the pack there. That puts that hook right way back into that Yamamoto Cowboy. That Yamamoto Cowboy is just like fish grabs it, just like they grab a Cinco. I like this big bulky flapness. I wanted that bait, even though the water was really dirty, you can only see about a foot. I wanted that bait to have a little bulk to it, and I wanted high speed, and I didn't want to make it black and blue or red or anything really bright colors, because I wanted those fish to not really get a good look at it, but feel it going by them. And it was really just a reaction bite. And once they grab it, I need that Yamamoto plastic to hold on. Now, I did start the day off early in the morning throwing a different creature bait, and I don't know if I was missing them. I don't know why I did. I had like 3 different types of baits on, but by the end of the day, I realized that the Yamamoto Cowboy was a deal, because as soon as they popped it, they would not spit that thing out. They just held on to it. So good setup. Look how far back that big hook goes, man. I just crushed him with it. All right, let's go back to where I was at here. I got lost sidetracked. But yeah, so back to me having that mask on. I just want to touch on that one last thing. I was all covered up, had a mask on, had a hat on, and there was a big tournament on Sunday up there, big team tournament, team event. I was out there in the most popular area. It was around the state park, one of the more popular areas. Everyone knows, everybody practices through there. And I got to see how people that I knew behaved around kayakers. And for the most part, a lot of guys had a lot of respect. I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to just diss anybody or even award anybody, but there were some guys that were really respectful, really friendly. They didn't know who I was. Not that everybody knows who I am, but they had no idea it was Jason under the mask. And it was really interesting just to see how people that I've been fishing around a long time behaved without knowing who you are. And so if you guys were around me and you weren't respectful, I know who you are, because I got really close to you. So anyway, I've been there, man. I've pulled up in areas and seen kayakers and then never thought about it. Just because they're in a kayak doesn't mean they're not competing, or they're not. That's something that they found. Maybe I've probably made that mistake myself, is just not thinking about it. But now I'm going to think about it a lot, and I think that us bass fishermen need to give those guys a lot more space, a lot more respect. As things get going, kayak fishing is getting bigger and bigger. We're going to see more and more of them. They can't just get up and move, guys. They're there, they're fishing that area. So if you roll up into a kayak, an area where there's some guys in a kayak, at least say, hey, you mind if I fish around here? Or you don't mind if I go in between or fish down this bank, because, you know, it goes a long way. So had a great time, met a ton of people. This video is like, what? Oh, look at almost 20 minutes long. Gosh, this is a huge review. But had a great time. Thanks, Bass. Thanks, Jody Only, for taking all those cool pictures for Bass. And, yep, we'll see you at the next one.